Good morning. Today I'm going to dig into the outside garden for the first time. It is really past time for two crops in particular, peas and spinach. And so as you can see, the tarp is still in the garden here. I had an issue with weeds last year, so I tarped the garden to start to kill some of the weed seeds. But today I start to peel back that tarp and we're going to plant a few beds. If you want to know how I plant my garden, everything I do I model after Eliot Coleman. Google him and you'll see how the pro does it. 30-inch beds are what I plant in, with 12-inch rows between them. And you can see here I had my my father-in-law, who used to be a welder, make me some frames basically, and you'll see 30 inches there between the two long legs with a 12-inch bed between them. And here I've already put one in the ground, so you can see that between these two legs will be the bed. There's going to be a 12-inch path to the left on the outside here. Now you can see how there's going to be one 30-inch bed here, another one here. I'm going to put two more on the far side of the garden down there, and then run string between. What we have here are now two 30-inch beds that are laid out. They're about 32 feet long. I'm actually going to cut them in half. This is actually going to turn into 4 beds. It's going to be a path running down the middle, also 12 inches wide. So that's step one, is laying out the beds. Now, step 2 is going to be to prepare the beds for seed. So a couple things we're going to do first. We got to aerate the beds and add a little bit of extra organic matter. The next step in preparing these beds for planting is to aerate. And so what I have here, it's called a broad fork. I don't actually turn the soil over with a hoe or with some sort of rake or fork. That actually disrupts the soil too much. And it actually is, it harms the life in the soil that's going to help our plants grow. So a more gentle way to put air in the soil, one of the things that roots need and plants need to grow, is to use what's called a broad fork. So as you can see, this broad fork has 7 sharp tines that are heavy duty, although I've bent one back. And the way you use it is, you put it in right here in the row, in the bed, and you can see it fits snugly between the two strings. It's 30 inches wide. And you press down on it with your foot, and you gently lift back. And it gently raises the soil. And you come back about 6 inches, push it down, pop it up. So as you can see, I'm working really hard not to step in the beds. Creating a nice soft bed that has plenty of air in it is extremely important. So not I nor anyone else for the rest of the season is actually going to step in these 30-inch beds. We'll only ever use the paths, because one of the most important things you can do for your plants is to give them a nice aerated bed for their roots to thrive in. All right, normally, after I aerate the beds, the next step would be to add a bunch of compost. That's organic matter. That's sort of like the fuel, the food for the plants. This is fairly well rotted chicken manure from last year, and this entire area has been under a tarp for a year now. And so I'm gonna go ahead and just call the manure I've already dropped on here, that's sort of begun to rot in, good enough. I'm not gonna add any more compost this season to this part of the garden. So what I gotta do is I gotta take my garden rake, and as you can see here in this bed, I've already started to even it out. And I'm going to start to just work some of that manure on top into the top 2 or 3 inches of the soil, while at the same time, I'm leveling out the bed to give me a nice even planting surface. Here you go. These 2 beds are nearly ready to plant in. So they have been laid out and measured. They have been roped off. They have been aerated with the broad fork. And I've made the cross path between them. And in the next video, we'll plant some peas.